People ask me almost every day what I do to stay in the shape that I'm in. And I think they're asking because they're looking for some special supplement or a specific protocol or maybe something that they haven't tried before. But in reality, the answer is actually very simple. What I do every day to maintain my physique is boring, it's simple, but it works. It's not that it's sophisticated, but it is strategic. I'm going to walk you through the 7 daily habits I implemented to not only change my body and lose 37 pounds naturally, but also what I do today to help me maintain my physique. And these are the same simple habits that I recommend almost all of my clients do as well. By the end of this video, you'll know which ones are missing, which ones you're already doing, which ones you might need to tweak, and which ones you're going to want to start to implement ASAP. Most people have shiny object syndrome when it comes to body transformation. They're looking for the newest recipe, the newest workout, the next supplement they can take, the newest peptide they might need. But in reality, body transformation and being able to maintain your results comes down to a few simple things. The gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it on a daily basis is where most transformations fall off. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Carrie, a weight loss and body transformation coach with over 10 years experience. And these aren't habits that I recommend theoretically, like, oh, it'd be nice. These are habits that I do every single day that not only helped me transform my body and lose 37 pounds naturally, but also helped me maintain it today. There's 7 habits. Here's what they are, why they work, and what they look like in practice. Let's get into it. Habit 1, I hydrate before I stimulate. I eat 30 grams of protein with my first meal, and I try to eat within 30 minutes of waking up. This is the habit that sets the entire day up for success. Not coffee first, not checking your phone, and definitely not doom scrolling on social. Instead, we want to start with hydration, 30 grams of protein, and ideally within 30 minutes of waking up. Here's why this matters. Hydrating first, especially with electrolytes and or trace minerals, helps to replenish fluids lost during your 7 to 8 hour sleep window. This not only helps you get additional water in the system, but when you pair it with electrolytes and or trace minerals, you're helping your body on a literal cellular level. Additionally, eating within the first 30 minutes helps to stabilize your blood sugar and cortisol levels throughout the day. And this is especially true for females. When your first meal has 30 to 40 grams of protein, it also sets up your entire day metabolically speaking, meaning you're boosting your metabolism the moment you wake up. Hydrating and hitting your protein first thing in the morning also helps to stabilize your blood sugar throughout the day, which minimizes crashes and or blood sugar dips. This is also why you want to skip a carb-heavy meal and instead swap it for some lean protein. Starting your day with high protein also sets you up for success if you have a protein target to hit. Let's say 1 gram per body weight. Kicking off breakfast with a higher protein source is going to help set the rest of your day up for success. Here's what hydration and 30 grams of protein for breakfast actually looks like. 16 to 32 ounces of water, and extra credit if you add electrolytes and or trace minerals. So you can do both. Option to add sea salt or lemon juice for some extra pizzazz, but that's going to help your body on a cellular level way more than coffee will. Remember, hydrate before you stimulate. And like low key, this will actually change your life. Drink electrolytes and trace minerals first thing in the morning before your coffee. Try it for 14 days and tell me your life isn't better. For the protein, we're looking at 4 to 5 eggs with a side of turkey bacon or chicken sausage. You can also do 1 or 2 eggs, keeping the fat to a minimum by adding liquid egg whites for an extra protein boost without all the added fat. You could also do low-fat or non-fat Greek yogurt. Just make sure you're getting 30 grams of protein. So you might have to add some turkey bacon or chicken sausage on the side. You could also make a nice protein shake. I usually lean towards organic or ones that have less ingredients, and then add some extra healthy carbs or fats in there, like some oatmeal, maybe some frozen fruits, or some nut butters. Just be mindful of the serving sizes when you're doing the add-ons. And if you're more on the savory side, you can always do some smoked salmon with some hard-boiled eggs and a piece of toast. Most women start their day with coffee, a granola bar, or one of those energy balls that they saved off of Instagram or Pinterest, and then they wonder why they're starving at 10 a.m. and have energy crashes and dips throughout the day. Your first meal is setting not only your hormonal and your metabolic tone for the rest of the day, but it's also stabilizing your blood sugar and energy. So let's make better choices within that first 30 minutes. Starting the day with proper hydration and protein is habit number 1. Habit number 2 is something I do every single day, regardless of how busy I am and if it's a workout day or a rest day. I hit 8 to 10,000 steps, not as a specific workout, but as a non-negotiable form of movement. Steps are not my workout. They are my baseline, and there's a big difference between the two. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which you may have heard as NEAT, accounts for everything that you do outside of your workouts. That's doing laundry, chores, etc. And that accounts for a lot of calories burned throughout the day. Low daily step count can completely offset the hard work that you're doing in the gym. Consistent daily movement throughout the day keeps your metabolism high, your blood sugar stabilized, and keeps your energy going way more than just that 1-hour gym session. Walking also specifically targets fat oxidation, which means when you're walking, you're burning more calories and more fat than if you were sitting stagnant. 8 to 10,000 steps a day, no matter what, also helps with digestion, mental clarity, and let's not forget about nervous system regulation. And I think we all know that a lot of us could use some help in that category. Here's how I make it happen on busy days. 1, if you can, invest in a stand-up desk and walk pad. If you work a lot like me, it's going to be so helpful to be able to habit stack the two when you're on meetings or when you're working 10 to 12-hour days sometimes. Another thing that helps is to go on a 15 to 20-minute walk, sometimes during a meeting or after a heavy meal like lunch. Bonus points if you bring the dog because they're gonna like it too. You can also park further away, take the stairs, make sure you're active throughout the day, doing house chores, laundry, that kind of thing. It all adds up. You could also do an evening walk post-dinner to help wind down for bed. Or another tip that I tell my clients to do is get the walk pad out when you're binging your favorite show. It goes by faster and you can hit thousands of steps within that 1-hour period. At the end of the day, if you want to really transform your body, no, 8 to 10,000 steps is not going to do that alone. But doing more than 5,000 steps every single day and hitting up on that higher end range is going to help you shed fat, boost your metabolism, have more energy, and just live an overall healthy life where you can maintain your results. You just learned that steps are my baseline. Habit 3 is something that I do in the gym, and it may surprise you. I train with progressive overload 4 days a week, and I track every rep and every weight. There was a time in my life where I'd go to the gym, do some random exercises for that specific muscle group, take a fitness class, and check a box. There was also a season of life where I was only going to fitness classes because I was also teaching them for 8 years. And spoiler alert, both of those strategies never actually changed my body. Nowadays, I don't work out, I train. And there's a huge difference between the two. Now, every session has a plan, and it's all based on what I did last week. Here's what my training looks like now. I do 4 structured training sessions every single week. I include compound lifts and movements at every session. This includes back squats, hip thrusts, bench press, RDLs, the tried and true exercises that hit up multiple muscle groups at once. I log every weight and every rep so I know exactly what I need to do to push from the following week. Form, tempo, and mind-to-muscle connection are prioritized over ego lifting, or sometimes called intensity, although that needs to be there too. Speaking of intensity, we have to be pushing to failure. Those last 2 reps should feel nearly impossible. Otherwise, you're just maintaining your muscle, not actually growing it. My sessions are about 1 hour long, not including warm-up or stretching or even cardio. This is going to ensure that you're building muscle instead of just burning calories. This is also what's required if you want to visually look and feel different. Here's what I don't do. Random workouts or workouts just because I feel like it. Hitting up random muscle groups every single week based on what I think I need. Fitness classes as my primary source of exercise because remember, we've been there, done that, doesn't work to change the body. I also don't do 2-hour lifting sessions or double up because I missed a day. That's just not effective. And no, more cardio is not the answer for a derailed weekend thinking you got off track. The people in the gym who look the most fit and the most toned are not the ones who spend the most time there. They're the ones that come with a specific custom strategy and they execute on the plan. Remember, consistency over intensity is going to win every single time. I lost 37 pounds naturally, built a quad pop, and toned arms and abs using this exact strategy. No psychotic fitness challenges, no boot camps, and no marathon sessions in the gym 5 to 6 days a week. Instead, I follow a specific training program 4 days a week with proper nutrition behind it. Training with a plan is habit number 3. Habit number 4 is all about food, which is my favorite, and it's probably the one that surprises people the most. If you're realizing that one or more of these habits have been missing from your routine, hit subscribe. I post videos every single week on how to eat and how to move for your specific goals so you can see the weight loss, fat loss, and toning results you want. Now let's keep going. Habit 4, I eat 90% single ingredient whole foods, and the other 10% I do not restrict. I don't eat clean because I think I'll gain a bunch of weight if I don't, or that I'll reverse all of the progress that I've made. Instead, I choose single ingredient whole foods 90% of the time because that's what it's going to take if you want to live a healthier life, build more muscle, shed fat, have improved digestion and skin appearance, and have more energy than you've ever had before. Here's what the 90% looks like in practice. Proteins like chicken, beef, turkey, eggs, Greek yogurt, soy, cottage cheese. Carbohydrates like rice, potatoes, fruits, vegetables, and oats. Healthy fats, but in a smaller and more mindful portion size, like avocados, eggs with the yolk, nuts, seeds, olive oils. And integrating a ton of volume foods like lettuce, low-carb veggies, organic rice cakes, roasted seaweed, anything you can do to build your plate up without all the calories. And if you're wondering if I still eat fun things like bread, tortillas, candy, chips, desserts, yes. But if it has more than 5 ingredients, it's not going to be my primary food source. Here's what the other 10% looks like. Healthier dessert dupes a few times a week. Meals out at restaurants to get pizza, burgers, sushi, Chinese food, Thai, and everything in between. About once a week, I'll grab a healthy, fast casual bowl just to help with cooking fatigue. And about once a season or once a quarter, I love me a Taco Bell run and donuts as well. I also definitely eat dessert during the holidays. Like, that's a hell yeah. I don't drink alcohol anymore, but if I did, that would be done sparingly too, like for special occasions or maybe a party. But yeah, I eat whatever I want within that 10% without guilt, without shame, and without spiraling. Instead, I thoroughly enjoy my meals in that 10% because the other 90 also tastes really good, and that's the majority of my life. Here's why this balance works. Whole foods are more satiating per calorie, which means you can eat more food and feel really full and satisfied after a meal without completely going overboard or sabotaging results. Again, we call this volume eating in the health and fitness space, and it's because you can eat a lot of food without blowing the calorie bank. And I don't know about you, but I like to eat, so that strategy works really well for me. Whole foods also support your gut health, your energy, and your hormone balance way more than processed foods do. The 10% flexibility also removes the psychological restriction that can lead to binging or that all or nothing mindset. Transforming your body and being able to maintain your results is all about establishing a healthy and sustainable approach to your food. And this is way more successful than following a strict diet with an expiration date. And that's why those 30-day cleanses don't work. Remember, this is a lifestyle shift, as I'm sure you've heard. Whole 30 can get lost. We want to take the 90-10 approach. But yeah, I had pizza last night and I still woke up with abs. Those two things are not in conflict. And when you understand what food is and how nutrition works and how it all pairs with your body and your plan, you no longer have to live in restriction mode. And instead, you can find that healthy balance. For real. The 90-10 food approach is habit number 4. Habit number 5 is something that I do every single morning, and most people skip this and wonder why they're failing. I weigh myself daily and I'm not triggered by the number. This one always surprises people, but daily weighing is a powerful tool to use for both transformation and maintaining your results once you know what to look for. Here's why I weigh myself daily and why my clients do too. It removes being triggered by the scale. Because if you were to do weekly weigh-ins, that's not going to encompass the full story, which is going to include normal fluctuations in weight. Weighing myself daily also allows me to take into consideration trends with the fluctuations over time, rather than being triggered or totally upset by one number throughout the week. It also helps me and my clients understand how different things affect the scale, like sleep, training, food, sodium, and water intake, not to mention your digestion as well. This is all just information. It's data, not a death sentence, and it's definitely not something to avoid either. Here's how I read the data from the scale and what I teach my clients as well. I look at the 7 to 10 day trend rather than comparing today's weight to yesterday's weight. A 2-pound increase overnight tells me a lot about sodium, water retention, digestion, and sometimes sleep as well. A downward trend over the course of 2 to 3 weeks tells me the body is in a calorie deficit, even if it goes up and down throughout that time period. The number on the scale informs me how to make the next best strategic decision rather than controlling my entire mood. And this isn't done on a day-to-day basis. This is done looking at 7 to 10 day trends. Avoiding the scale doesn't make you more free, it makes you less informed. And the people who make the most progress understand that the scale is just one tool of reference. Once you understand how to read it and what it's actually measuring, you're going to be able to make way more strategic decisions throughout the course of your transformation and maintaining your results. Daily weigh-ins are a powerful tool. Habit 6 is a non-negotiable for me, and this is one that most people skip that can make a huge difference. I get 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, and I protect that sleep window like it's my job. Sleep is not just recovery. It's literally the transformation chamber that makes your results even better. And without quality sleep, you just don't get as good of results as someone who gets the 7 to 8 hours. Here's the sad truth about what sleep deprivation does to body composition, fat loss, and muscle growth. Not getting enough sleep elevates cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and this can all lead to additional fat storage, especially around the midsection. It also increases ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, and decreases leptin, which is the hormone that tells you you're full and happy. So sleep deprivation leads to more hunger and more cravings. Multiple studies also show that those who are sleep deprived will lose less body fat and lose more muscle, which is what we don't want. It also impairs glucose metabolism, which means when you're eating carbohydrates, you're more likely to store them as body fat instead of utilizing them for energy. Poor sleep also reduces training performance and recovery. Here's what getting adequate and high quality sleep looks like, with some caveats, because I know we're not all perfect and this is an area we can all improve on. Ideally, we want consistent bedtime and wake time schedule, even on the weekends. But I say this with a caveat because I do think it's beneficial to give your body some extra rest on the weekend when you have the time. We also want to limit meals or snacks or food within 2 to 3 hours of going to bed. Now, I do have little dessert dupes a couple of times a week, and sometimes that's okay. We want to reduce or completely eliminate alcohol, which definitely affects your sleep quality. We also want a cool, dark room, maybe even some white noise, and a bedtime routine that signals to your body that it's time to rest. You can have the best training program and be so dialed in with your nutrition, but if you're getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep every night, your results are just not going to be as good. Sleep is a non-negotiable. Habit 7 is the final one, and it's one of the most underrated tips in the fitness and health space. I do something every day to reduce stress and regulate my nervous system. This is the habit that makes every single other habit work better. And a lot of people treat this as a luxury instead of something that is a must-have for every single day. Here's why nervous system regulation matters for body composition. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which directly leads to fat storage and muscle breakdown. A chronically active stress response suppresses digestion, disrupts hormones, and promotes body fat storage. This can make you resistant to fat loss overall. The gut and the brain are also in constant communication. So when you have a dysregulated brain, you have a dysregulated gut, and nothing's going to work the way that it should. No amount of perfect eating or training is going to trump a dysregulated nervous system. When you're in constant fight or flight, your body is trying to survive. That's not thriving. Here's what stress management looks like in my routine. Waking up early before the world so I can work in peace before the world starts demanding things from me and before meetings start. Movement as a stress outlet, specifically my gym workouts, going for walks, doing heated yoga. All of these things help to manage and reduce stress. This could also look like playing music or doing a few breaths or moments of stillness outside in the sun. I also recommend a dedicated bedtime routine. For me, this looks like red light therapy, journaling, and some sleepy time tea or sleepy time cocoa. At the end of the day, regulating your nervous system doesn't have to be this complicated or long, drawn-out process. It doesn't have to be a 45-minute meditation. It doesn't have to be yoga or journaling if that's not your thing. It simply means building 1 or 2 moments in your day where you can help manage stress and close the loop on that stress cycle. Stress management is not a soft skill, and managing your cortisol levels will have a direct impact on how and where your body stores fat. It can also determine how readily your body gives up that body fat and just lets it go. Managing your stress is super important if you want to get the best results possible. The one to start with today. If all 7 of these habits feels too overwhelming for you, let's start with 1 or 2 that's going to make the biggest impact for you specifically. Here's what that looks like. If your energy is low or your hunger is out of control, start with habit 1 and implement a high protein breakfast and hydration within 30 minutes of waking up. If you're doing everything right in the gym, but you're not quite seeing the results you want, start with habit 6. Prioritize 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep every night for the next 2 weeks, and let's see what changes. If you feel like your metabolism is sluggish, start with habit 2 and get 8 to 10,000 steps every single day for 14 days straight, and let's see what happens. Start with one habit, do it for 2 weeks, every day, no matter what, and notice what shifts in not only in your body, but in your energy, your digestion, and in your relationship with yourself. None of these habits are dramatic, and none of them are going to feel like a huge breakthrough moment when you start to implement them daily. But that's the point. The best transformations are not built in moments of perfection or motivation. They're literally built in the simple tasks that you do every single day that adds up to a big transformation over time. These are the 7 habits that helped me completely transform my body and have helped me maintain my results. Start with 1 and build from there. If you're realizing that 1 or more of these habits have been missing from your routine and you want a structured, customized plan that's built specifically for you and your goals, I offer free video consultations where we can chat about your goals, what you're struggling with, and map out a plan that's going to help you reach them. The link to book is in the description below. If any of these habits sparked questions in your mind, like, do I have to track my food? Will lifting weights make me bulky? I created a video walking you through the 8 most common questions people ask me as it relates to body transformation. That's linked on your screen right here. Click it to watch it next.